And now a reading from the Chronicles, Chapter 1, an excerpt.
Ron Carnage sat in his study and thought about taking a long drag of his pipe. He wasn't going to, as he doesn't smoke. The pipe was a treasure of sorts, a gift from an old friend from an adventure long, long ago. Ron was pretty set on the no-smoking thing. That's not to say there would never be a situation in which he'd smoke, but it was highly unlikely. Like if Ron was drafted to go to Vietnam in a parallel universe, and they handed him a helmet and a pair of boots, and on top of the pile there was a pack of Cowboy Killer Marlboro Reds, and he was like, "Oh, I don't smoke," and the lieutenant stared right into his eyes with a gaze incapable of emotion and was like, "You will." That's not to say he wouldn't light one up and take a drag a few months later when his best friend from the old neighborhood added another ear to his flesh necklace, but he, to this point, did not smoke, and he liked it that way. Yes, the pipe was a gift from an adventure long, long ago. A lifetime, even. Ron was a different person then.
Beautiful. It only took 4 tries.
That's right. That's right.
But we finally got it. So,
Hey guys, we finally got it.
so we'll start the show.
I think that's Homestar.
But yeah, definitely Homestar. That was one of my favorite web series ever as a kid. We've talked about this.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, more from the Chronicles. That was the very intro to the novel, of which we have just crossed 10,000 words.
Which is so what's the expectations next? What's how many adventures can people expect?
At this point, there is an unlimited amount of adventures. I think we're going for 50,000 words. Which
okay.
the first Harry Potter book was 60,000. So that's a full size novel, dude.
Okay. So you're finished with volume 1. I saw in the show notes.
Yes.
All right.
So give this a listen. Hopefully you can hear this. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Those are
What is
the rustling pages of the first 10,000 words, hot off the press from the local print shop.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Damn.
So the guy, there was kind of a misunderstanding. I wanted it to be an 8.5 by 11 page folded in half, so that each physical piece of paper would have 4 pages of the book on it. And he just kind of printed it out two pages on each, front and back. So it's twice the size of what we wanted. He ended up not charging me for it. We're going to try it again tomorrow, but it's honestly kind of cool to have it in my hands.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. Let me send you this picture real quick. I think you might like this. Your phone will buzz again.
No, actually, it is on silent. It only buzzed because I was reading from the website, WhoIsRonCarnage.com, therefore allowing the notifications to arrive.
Sure. Okay, so there's a photo coming your way.
Okay, I won't be able to tell because, again, the notifications are turned off.
All
I
right.
swear to God.
Should be there.
I swear to God, Tom, listen to me. We've known each other a long time. I'm not bullshitting you right now.
All right, did you get it?
Yes. Pretty cool.
How dope does that look? The little numbers are in the Elemental logo.
Yeah, that's not bad. So kick his ass, Sid Flappy.
It's good stuff.
Damn it! I can't believe it's gone this far. There's a lot. So it's a fifth of a gall dang average novel length.
Yeah,
Cool.
I was having a really rough day today, feeling super depressed, and I opened up my phone, was reading Ron Carnage bit, and it put a smile on my face. I love it.
You finally read the ending of volume 1, right?
Yeah. So I've read everything.
What was your impression?
It is on it so for something that's just supposed to be kind of a joke and goofy. I am so interested in what the hell's going to happen next. And it's even more exciting that it literally hasn't happened yet. It hasn't been written. So it's honestly some of the most fun I mean, I'm not really doing anything for this, I'm not the one writing it. So it's been fun to, get them in this like Google Doc that's just like filled to the brim now. And just, I don't know, man, read it. It's been super exciting. It's like, it's way more interesting and different than just like buying a book off the shelf and reading it, 'cause it's all done. I think the ambiguity of like everything is super interesting.
Right. I'm interested to hear what people listening have to say. Matt has chimed in and said, I can't believe this is a thing, but I'm glad it is, which is a sentiment that I'm totally fine with.
Which I think might have had more to do with like the fact that there was a Ron Carnage Twitter. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. And back then, I think there was also only like 1,000 words written. So
right, it was still just a couple emails.
Right. But let me see what you think about this. And it, we don't have a large audience. The network as it stands doesn't have like a huge audience either. It would be easier if we had that. But in an attempt to kind of grow more of an audience and a community, I guess, since this thing is still being written and we want people to get a little hyped about it now, I really want to take advantage of the fact that it's still being written and try to get people involved now, where like, either like if you're, listener of the show, or if you want to like pre-order like the printed finished book or PDFs, or like sign up for the mailing list or whatever. Like for people that want to do that, what if they were then able to like have a character that they name show up in the story, or maybe like name a town where they go?
I like it.
Do you think,
or like have it be like where they pick a name out of a hat, and we'll like have a list of shit, and then they can just pick it out of a virtual hat and be like, okay, they have to go, like, I don't know, like what was the name that we were talking about the first episode, and how Nickelback was mentioned too much, and the typo was Mocklebuck. So like one of the names in the hat would be Mocklebuck, whatever the that would be. They get to choose whether that's a town or a person or a region or a mountain chain or something.
I just think,
I mean, it's not even done yet, so we might as well like have people help us take it to where it needs to go. It's kind of like the movie Be Kind, Rewind with Jack Black and Mos Def, where the kind of everyone involved with it has fun with it. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like not only would it be a great way to like market it, but like more importantly, like I think it would just be fun for people who actually are interested in like comics, or people who are writing, or just, anytime you ask for advice on Facebook, you have like 3 people that just post with like really bad advice. Like this is like their golden opportunity, it's like, we want your recommendations and we want them to be like stupid, Yeah,
luckily it's an absurd set of tales to begin with, so.
Right. So like when I picked up the printouts from the printing company, I was like, you should read this, but be warned, it's fucking stupid. Like,
what'd they say?
He was like, I'm kind of trying to like come up with a pitch on like what this is, and I don't know how you feel about this, but like, what about South Park meets, see, this isn't good either, but like South Park meets Lord of the Rings, where it's like a really like crude and just funny take on an adventure novel. Like, I don't think that's quite the golden metaphor or comparison.
Well, I'm not sure it knows what it is yet either. I mean, it's still pretty early. Because I think we thought it was a lot more. It definitely started off a lot more like not prehistoric, but like the technology was like pre the printing press, for example. But now a lot of the chapters, there's like the town crier prints a newsletter, so it's like somewhere in early Celtic culture, but like post Druids, but like also nearing the Industrial Revolution, because there's a printing press. I guess obviously it's fiction, so it doesn't super matter, but like when Ron writes in a diary, like when did parchment come into play? I don't know. So I forget what the original question was, but it is constantly evolving with some of like what certain chapters are. So
right.
I don't know. I think if people read probably the first chapter, but like the first 5, which is like a third of the way through the first volume, they'll know. I think they'll have a pretty good idea of whether or not they're going to get enjoyment out of it.
Right.
Because it goes about every direction of absurd. It goes within those first few stories.
Right. Yeah. It's
and it's definitely profane, but only sometimes. It has heart. I would argue it has heart.
It's got a lot of heart.
I guess. No, I don't know. Yeah, I like. I want to hear. If people want to name a town or a character. Sorry, I'm going a little hoarse on you. We can even start putting horses in. It's just that simple, folks.
If you see, there's a horse at work. It's like the person who owns the land across the parking lot. They have a horse. I've named her Epona, naturally.
Okay.
And I'm in love with her. Why
naturally?
It's the name of the horse from Zelda.
Oh, sure.
So I'm in love with this horse. I would love to write a little bit about the horse, but you can't have a horse named Epona, can you? That's already it's been done.
Yes, I would say certainly you cannot.
Okay, so I was watching this really awful CW teen drama show called Riverdale or something, and they had a character named...
Yeah, it's based off of the Archie comics, right?
Right. It's awful. It's so bad, but
you know what was a good version of Archie? Was when they did a crossover series between it was like Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century mixed with Archie, but it was almost Scooby-Doo-like. Anyway, Archie and the gang solved horror mysteries on Fox, for kids cartoons. It was incredible. Sorry.
No,
half of the podcast is me just interrupting the out of what you're trying to be productive about. But I really like that show. So
I don't know if this was in the comic pre-Harry Potter, but they had a character named Hermione, and I just feel like you can't do that anymore. It's done.
What comic?
You can't name your kid Adolf. It's done.
Yeah, this is true. These are all facts. You just yeah. So yeah, you gotta come. That's why we didn't even name our thing Don Carnage based off of an off character from DuckTales.
Right.
You know what I mean? That didn't even make that many appearances in the Disney cinematic universe.
Ooh, speaking of Don Carnage, I feel like we talk about Ron Carnage I can do an entire podcast just on the, whatever. Maybe people don't want to hear much about it, but I have one more thing I want to say.
No, we should do after the Talking Dead show,
right.
Have a Ron Carnage side podcast.
I would love that. Carnage cast.
Ooh.
I'll work on the artwork tonight.
Pod Carnage.
Pod Carnage.
The Carnage Pod.
I kind of love Pod Carnage. Okay, so I want to introduce a new segment just for today.
Okay. No, dude. Keep it coming. I have faith that this is going to go well.
Okay.
Is it what could go wrong?
No.
Is it this week's fact?
It's called, I'm going to do a jingle on the spot. What would you do?
Ooh, nice jazzy finish.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so.
You kind of sound like the ghost of the jazz musician in Nick Kroll's attic in the new show Big Mouth on Netflix.
I'll need to check that out once we're done with Riverdale.
Yes, you should, Tom. We should actually derail the direction we were heading and discuss this further.
Okay. That'll be on our
What would I do? I don't know. What would I do?
Okay, so I told you that I had been on Fiverr commissioning some design work done for Ron Carnage, specifically the cover image for the book. I had sent you some photos, but I think I sent you, before she got anything back to me, I sent you this really, really beautiful photo of these characters standing in front of a lake with this big mountain in front of them, like beautiful trees in the illustration, and it was just like this really beautiful photo. And I said, hey, I found this girl who did this illustration. She's going to do a book cover for us. Super stoked. You remember that? The first draft that I sent you? Okay, so I was going to buy the illustration from her for $10, and you said make sure that we have like the rights to print this, which I didn't think about. I'm glad you thought about it because I asked, and she said no, unfortunately, if you want to print something I have to make you something from scratch. I was like, damn, okay. So she started making something, and the first draft of what she sent me didn't really look much like the same style as this photo I saw online, which is, in her portfolio, which is the reason that I wanted to work with her because it looked amazing. And I was kind of like, man, this doesn't really look like the same quality. I was a little concerned about how it was going to turn out. And I was talking to Megan. I was like, man, what if like she just put a bunch of other people's work in her portfolio and said that it was hers? And Megan was like, no, I don't think that would happen. I'm sure it's her work. She just needs to iron out, what the image she's working on for you. So we're going through a couple different variations. The mountains don't really look that good. I was like, hey, I really just want this to look how it did, in the example photo on your account. She's like, okay, no problem. And looked a little better. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, it's good. Can I just buy the Illustrator file from you and I can work on stuff, on my own? And she was like, yes, but, and this is where it comes in, what would you do? I'm going to read her message. Did I lose you there? Is this interesting enough? I'm starting to feel self-conscious.
No, I was going to say, play the jingle for the segment again, because we're at the point where we have to decide what we would do.
I think it was, what would you do? Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. It ended a little raspy.
Okay. So.
What would you do?
So she says.
Tough thing to do with your voice. Anyway.
God, where is it? So she says, oh, good God, where is this?
What if they like scattered? There was like the extended intro to the jingle was shoo-ba-doo bop 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 ba-da-da-doo ba-da-da-da-da.
What would you do? What would you do? What would you do?
Did you already pop punk cover the jingle?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel like we went from swing band, and then in your head you already were thinking of a way to do a pop punk cover of it somehow. Right. Like Simple Plan doing the Scooby-Doo theme song years later or something.
So it seems like I didn't know you can do this, but
scat? Yeah, you can just make noises with your mouth and it counts as singing.
She deleted the message, which I didn't know you could delete it from both ends. Okay, so I'll try to remember what she said. She said,
Also, right there, that's kind of sketch.
Right? Okay. So she tells me, before I send you they need to like send you an offer so you actually like accept the design and then they get paid. She said, before I send this, I need to tell you something. And if you are mad at me, you can cancel your offer and I will refund your money. And again, this is someone, English isn't their first language, so some of the verbiage was kind of funny, made it sound like really like innocent. But she said the photo in my portfolio that you wanted this picture based off of was not my photo. I took it from Google. She said, when I took it, I thought that it wouldn't be difficult, and if someone wanted something that looks like that, I could replicate it without an issue, but you are not getting the perfection from me that you deserve, and you've been so nice to me, and I feel like I can't deliver what you want. I gave you a low price because like every day I am full of shame because I lied to you, and I'm so sorry. And if you want your money back, I can give it back to you. So, at this point, what would you do?
Part of me thinks that you would only get so much business anyway on Fiverr with an image like that and a site like that it would have to be legitimate. But the other part of me sounds like that's every opening scene of every part of a movie where the girl gets given the benefit of the doubt. She puts the money in her pocket, turns the corner, and there's a group there like, did it happen? And she's like, yeah, let's go buy our drugs or whatever. You know, like, like it sounds like every street hustle ever. It's like, hey, listen, not my image. Just happens. You've just been so good to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I have no idea what I would do. I probably would not have done it in the first place.
Right.
Like I've said, it's not. You and I have had conflicting views. It's the book isn't done yet, but you're always thinking further ahead than I am, anyhow. But I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
So yeah, I can't believe that
I was wondering why the other one looks so much worse than the first one, though. like comically worse.
Oh, you know what? No. Here's the conversation. Okay. So, yeah, it's definitely not as good, but I think we got it a lot better than it started off. But what I basically said to her was like, you know, I'm happy with what you did, especially for like $30. I was like, yeah, it's a little sketchy, but I was like, as an artist and as someone who's just starting out, it's like, we've got to fake it till you make it. I mean, I don't think that you should be using other people's like art to get work. I said like, maybe for now on, just use this photo or this illustration instead of the other one. And she was like, oh, you know, I'll still give you your money back. Thank you for being so understanding, whatever. So I asked her, I was like, I promise I'm not going to say anything, but can you send me the link to the actual artist who did this photo or the illustration? She sent it, and this is where things could have gone horribly wrong. If you didn't suggest that we ask if we could use that illustration for the book cover. It was made by the graphic designer for REI, like the outdoor store, and it was one of their summer campaign photos.
That's awesome. Because it looks so much better. It looks so good.
It looks so
like I'm looking
good.
at him again now, and I really wish we could just have the first one.
I know.
Why'd we go through that? Why do we torture ourselves?
I know, dude. So I thought about hitting up the guy who actually lives not too far from me, in Erie, Colorado. Interestingly enough.
Oh, cool.
But once I saw that it was for REI, I was like, yeah, dude, this probably costs like $2,500, you know? So,
right.
So that was...
As opposed to $5.
Right. So that was super disheartening. And again, the illustration that we have, it's not bad, but it's not the graphic designer of REI, you know?
Sure.
And for $30, which is all I can really afford right now, I'll take it. And also I did buy the Illustrator file. So if there's things we want to tweak or make better, or even like maybe give it to Kevin to see if he can make it look better. Maybe we
Who's
can do
Kevin?
that. He was the guy who did the Elemental logo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, but again, here we go. I wanted to use Don Carnage, hoping for a Disney lawsuit to use as promotion. If
Yeah, but lawsuits are only like popular if a news outlet picks up on it. You know what I mean?
Right. So
like, would it even be newsworthy for them to squash things they probably squash every day?
But here's where it gets interesting, okay? Because now there's a third party involved. We paid $20 for a design that we thought was legit. It turned out to be someone who was selling other people's artwork. We can pass off, or we could have passed off a little bit of the blame. That could have been an interesting news story, right? I mean,
I guess we're not at fault, right?
I mean, interesting for a 24-hour news cycle, right? It's not going to be 5.
She would have had to sell us the rights to the photo though, and we would have had to have been like blissfully ignorant. You know what I mean? We would have had to been like, but she told us, and we didn't think, you know.
So,
but she was like, it's not mine. She was too honest about it. Well,
not at first. She was going to sell me the photo for $10. And then
the original one?
Yeah. And then I asked if she can make some changes, like put our character silhouettes there other than the 2 that were in there. And I said, like, by the way, we want to use this for a book cover. Are we allowed to? And that's when she was like, no, it's already for another client. I'll have to make you something else. So at that point, she's still...
So you asked every perfect question to, like, think you might have been like an agent or something. What about these specific scenarios that would involve me to do this with...
So
like, listen, I'm coming clean. It's a Google image.
I don't know, man. I thought it was interesting, and I felt bad that she was like so like embarrassed or like, I don't know. She sounded like it literally tortured her. And like, I mean, she knew that I knew I wasn't getting the same quality, right? There's no way that she was the same person who did that design.
No, if you look at them side to side, it's comical.
Right? But again, man, I'm not hating it.
It's Fiverr.com versus the REI communications team.
Right. But what she did, she actually traced one of the mountains in his photo, and that mountain looks pretty dope. And then
I was going to say, there's definitely like a technique that she mirrored.
But then the other mountains look a little different, and that's kind of why I was like...
One of them's kind of phallic, and there's just some white on it.
I know.
And once I look at it closer, it's just like they just slapped a little bit of snow. And then like kind of like took one image of trees and just put many of them everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm gonna I'm gonna fix that up a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, dude, it's just like, whatever. We'll actually
we get time to iron. This might not even be what makes the actual. I mean, again, it's not even finished. The book is not even finished. So
right. So we'll get it figured out. I don't know. I'm definitely glad that I did pay for the Illustrator file. I think that was like another $20. So altogether I paid $50, which is like, if it was an American doing it, I would have got one tree for $50, so it's not all for nothing, but we'll get it figured out.
So what are your thoughts on the first volume? The content for those who are just learning now of Mr. Carnage.
Sorry, you're still breaking up a little bit. But we have what's up?
Oh, yep. I'm breaking up?
Yeah, you were a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
It's not your fault. It's probably on my end. But now that we've been recording for exactly 30 minutes, do you want to talk about some stuff?
Yes, I'd like that very much.
Okay. I guess I wanted to. I was feeling super discouraged today. I think.
Why?
Thanks for asking, Pat.
I'm here for you, baby.
One of my biggest New Year's resolutions was to find a mentor. I really wanted to find someone who's already done the thing I'm trying to do, and someone I can vibe with on a personal level, and someone who could teach me how to, do this thing properly. So I'd reached out to Mike Hurley, who Matt would know as the founder of Relay FM, the host of many, many podcasts, and just overall pretty good sounding dude. I emailed him back in June, I believe, asking if hey, I'm kind of looking for this mentor kind of situation. I don't know what I could offer your network in return, but I'd be happy to figure something out, or with you to make it mutually beneficial. And he was like, hey, I'm going to be out of the country for 7 weeks, but email me back in mid-September and we can set up a call. And I was like, damn, dude, that sounds pretty good. It wasn't just a no, I don't have time for that. Right. So I emailed him mid-September and he didn't respond. Or no, what'd he say? No, he didn't respond. So I emailed him again this morning. I was kind of putting it off, just feeling a little weird about it. And I emailed him. I was like, hey, dude, just wanted to follow up from the conversation we had back in June. Wanted to see, if you want to hop on a Skype call or something. We could talk about it. And I'll read you his exact response because I obviously probably misinterpreted the tone. But he said, "Hey man, I appreciate your persistence, but we're pretty set right now. Thanks, heart emoji, Mike Hurley." I was like, pretty set? Like, I'm, I don't really know what he meant by that. I thought maybe he like misunderstood what I meant. And I was like, no, I know that.
Oh, like you were looking for a job.
Right. So I was like, hey man, what'd I say? I said persistence has gotten me into some pretty interesting situations because I've honestly been places and been working with people I had no business being around, but it's just because I stuck with it, like I'm pretty good at the whole persistence thing. So just to be clear, I know that everything's working pretty well over there. Like I'm kind of looking for some advice and like someone to help coach me a little bit through building my own business, like someone who's already been in the situation. And he was like, no, I get it. I just don't have time. And it just made me really think, like, I thought that was going to be like a golden ticket to like, man, this dude knows so much. He's already done what I'm doing. And now their network has like 25 shows on it. And they're not huge like Gimlet or anything or like NPR, but it's been crazy successful. And I don't know, man, he got my hopes up pretty high. Not his fault, but I felt like they were crushed. And then all of a sudden I was like, fuck, dude, I've been doing this for a year. At Asher's on episode 31. We have an okay amount of listeners, but like I can't keep doing this forever for like free. Like if this isn't making money, I can't do it for much longer. I don't have the money for it. You know what I mean? It's like we just gotta do something, man. Like we're cruising along, everyone's having a good time, but like I want this to be a fucking business, Like I want this to be my job.
Have you tried to sell ads at all?
We don't have the listeners. There's no fucking way. It's like at this rate, like we need exponential growth for a couple months in order to be able to advertise. And this is like not us. This is like Ad Astra, right? And it's frustrating because that's all I have right now. Like we have the Straight Up podcast, but that's like, we're still working on that. Things are moving super slow with the Nintendo folks.
Are the hosts still doing it?
Yeah, and they're going to start ramping that up soon too and give it a little more focus. But like things are moving super slow with the Nintendo people. I was supposed to have a call with this astrobiologist who is on Neil deGrasse Tyson's show because he wanted to talk about hosting his own show on the network. And like he's been impossible to get a hold of. It's like, fuck, dude, we need something. I need a win somewhere. I need to not just double the listeners, but like 10x them. Like within the next few months. And I don't really know how to do that. I need a lot more help from like the hosts and shit. And then I just like started getting down, like, do I just give up? Obviously that's not what I want to do. Dude, it was just, I was in my head all day feeling just super down. And I posted something about, and it's true, like I'm not really afraid of like failing. I'm just afraid of like being like mediocre forever, like, oh, we have a couple of podcasts with like, a couple hundred listeners, but like, dude, I want I want hundreds of thousands, and it doesn't happen overnight, but dude, I need I need help from somewhere, from someone who knows what they're doing. And I thought he would be, a good source. And then I don't know, dude. I just felt bummed out. And to be honest, I read Ron Carnage and it helped me feel a lot better. So I appreciate that. But yeah, dude, I still
What about other people you met at the festival or whatever?
The conference? I didn't meet anyone that like had a big thing, like anything huge. And the one dude that I met who had like a couple thousand listeners was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I just started making this thing and people found it and liked it. Like he didn't really understand his success much other than he just made a good podcast, like a really good podcast.
Right. So you need a good podcast then, it sounds like.
And you know, I think Ad Astra is awesome. I love it, but I'm also like a huge space nerd. But there's plenty of those. I mean, Neil Tyson's show was huge, and I know that obviously he's already a celebrity, but like, it's about space, right? I mean, we've had big influencers on Ad Astra twice, you know, like big people, but it's like, okay, well, they're not going to give a bunch of shout outs on their Twitter, even if it is 30,000 people. Like, we need to get on other people's shows. Like, word of mouth is the biggest way to grow, and we need to do that, but I don't know any podcasters.
Does Mike Rowe listen
to this show? No. But I did think about hitting him up, maybe fly out to San Francisco for a weekend to try to meet up with him and see if there's anything we can do. I don't know.
Yeah, is there a Dirty Jobs podcast you can produce for him?
He actually has his own podcast. It's only like 5 to 10 minutes a week. But it is already phenomenal. It's like radio quality shit. Probably better than I can do. But yeah, I don't know, man. I still feel like I'm feeling down from it, and I'm just wondering, like, when you get in those situations, like, what do you do to like feel better? Like, if you feel like you've been working on something and it's just not panning out, like, how do you make it better?
I don't know. Try something new, I guess. What else can you do?
Well,
do something different, right? I mean, at its core, it would have to be that, whether it's within the parameters of what you're already doing or just a new direction entirely. I mean, you know, it sounds like you either need a new show or you need to change the way you do your shows, or like have them pay you to, you know, like that, the idea they told you at the conference where the shows would have to pay you to edit and host, you know, etc. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's a heavy fucking question. Because I kind of feel like that every day, all the time. So it's something I've lived with for like a while.
Well, I
don't
think
know. I feel like you graduate high school and then it's a slow race to the finish or something. It's kind of hard to fight that feeling off. So
right. And I think what's most frustrating is that when I was like building the network and like doing all the design and the website and stuff, it was all super exciting because like there was a lot.
Well, are you proud of what you make, I guess?
Yeah, but there was like a lot to do. And now it's just like, okay, on Monday, you know, I get the files from Ad Astra, I edit at work on Tuesday, we record, edit Wednesday, do straight up on Thursday. So like Tuesday through Thursday is super busy. But then I put the shows out and just it's the same amount of listeners, you know, pretty much every week. I want to see those numbers go up. So it's like the routine is what's killing me because, you know, it's nice and it's comfortable, but like I said, I cannot kill myself like for another year without making money on it. That's a long time and a lot of money to.
You should put out some ads about like, let me edit your podcast or something. You know, Denver's a hip place. You could be a local, you know what I mean? You just got to switch. You got to have a source of money, man.
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm looking at, you know, getting a new job with more pay, less hours, and then offsetting that with some freelance or
right. But you know what I mean. You're paying money to run this thing when you should be thinking about how can this thing. You know what I mean? I feel like you got to alter your perception of what it is. Either the hosts have to pay you to do what you do, or, you know, I don't know, find new shows that. Right. I mean, straight up, is that even holding its weight?
Oh no. I mean it.
Sorry, bleep that out. I don't know those people. And
no,
let me rephrase.
It's ramping up.
Let me rephrase.
We introduced a new host on that. We're gonna make it at least weekly. But right now it's like if a big news story hits, they need to find the source material and then present that. So it's not like
and like how many other outlets do that though? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know of
You know
any.
what I mean? Like I feel like you got to be. I feel like I don't know, new shows with different. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I put out an ad in Denver, man. Be like, I'm the best sound guy in town.
I knew that straight up. I mean, that one is not going to be a huge success. It's like a public service the way we're looking at it.
Okay.
I need to find a way to make it cheaper because the data usage isn't consistent. So a lot of weeks we're way under our quota, or a lot of months. But I'm not even worried about that one. If that never gets big, that's fine. It's just supposed to be like, if you want the actual facts, here they are. We try to make it easy, whatever. I mean, this show would be nice to have, 10,000 listeners. Is it that, does it deserve that? I mean, I've heard worse shows that are successful.
Right. But I mean, how much effort do we put into this? I mean, when we started, we didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You were just like, hey, I'm learning how to make a podcast network.
But I mean, maybe, is it something that you would want to like try to make big?
I don't know. It depends what we did. We'd have to like try and like do segments and have a speedier show. I'd cut it down to below an hour. Less conversation, I guess. More. I would try a lot harder. Yeah. I mean, I guess when we got into this, if you don't mind me saying that, I feel like hopefully it doesn't come as a surprise to you. All the joking tongue in cheek for 50 episodes that we've done is all real and true, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I'd cut it down to 40 minutes. Have the 4 segments we do, a reading from Ron Carnage at the end, and tie it up in a neat bow, and ramp up social efforts, and I don't know, right? Or
I don't want to do that podcast.
Try to have moments that you would enjoy listening to or enjoy saying, even. You know what I mean? Like, some of these are good for you and me therapy sessions. When we started the show, it was like, oh, Tom's trying this new thing, so I guess. It'd be nice to talk to an old friend. Like we didn't talk that much before we started the show. But it depends, like, hey, I'm using this as a vehicle to practice what I want to do. Is it that, or are we going to be one of the marquee shows? You know what I mean? I guess the mindset would have to change a little bit.
Well, I mean, obviously I've learned the things that I wanted to. Or I got the things out of the show that I wanted to.
Well, we said that like 20 episodes ago, right? Like, is this even worth your effort to do? Because, you know what I mean? Right? We've been talking about that for a little while now.
I mean, this is my favorite part. Even if the network, even if I decided it wasn't worth it, wasn't really panning out, I would still want to do this show because I do love doing it. It is the highlight of my week every week.
Right. I mean, we used to write intros and stuff. Like, I feel like it's a different show every week.
Right.
Like legitimately. So I think it would depend a lot on what you think your best use of time would be. I'm here to help you out. I mean, I feel like that's my role in this, is to be here for you. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're feeling discouraged, I'd not keep doing what you're, what's just tinker with some aspect of it. I don't know if Newton and them would pay to be on the network, but that seems to be what almost everybody else did at that conference. That's how it becomes a career. It sounded like to me, right?
Well,
is when you actually. I feel like you're afraid to charge for stuff, or what I mean. Like, you were even too nice to like call that artist out on her bullshit. Like, man, this is fraud. Like, the fuck, like, this photo sucks. Like. I feel like you're almost afraid to succeed or something on a weird level. I
mean, I definitely do think there's some aspect of that with everyone. I don't think I've been giving 100% like I used to with like reading about stuff I could be doing to be more successful. I've been really enjoying my weekends off, especially now that Megan has had most of them off. I don't think charging the host is the way to do it. I think giving them the work is the way to do it. So that I'm literally only spending maybe 10 minutes an episode to just do a quick mix and then publish the thing. Right now I'm spending like 2 hours an episode. And that's my fault. Jack has said he's ready to take on the editing responsibility, yada, yada.
Cut down on all that stuff, man.
That was like 3 months ago. And I don't know, delegating
you should have an intern
hard.
In the fall and the spring, brushing up the site, doing blog posts, social, have them do the weekly newsletter instead of monthly. I don't know, just like more activity, I guess.
Definitely need more activity.
You are one person, and I feel like everything that you get excited about takes the front seat because you literally have two hands and one brain and two eyes like anybody else. And there's certain things that get more attention than others. This is just me noticing things, I guess, over time. But I mean, it really just depends on, I don't know. Now that you're a year in, I think if you did another year of this, it would be foolish. Just alter, I think you got to take stock of what you've actually learned and what you want to do with that information. Sorry to if that's too tough love, I guess, but I mean,
no, I mean,
there's got to be some source of. I mean, should you freelance audio mix in Denver just to get your name out there? Start going to I don't know, man. Throw like a podcast teaching lesson thing at the local library and try to meet some people through there who, not to scam them out of it, but like maybe there being a weird, cool show there or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
down the pavement
those are
bit.
definitely the things that I should be doing. Right now, the Carnage stuff has gotten the front seat, like you're saying.
True. That is true.
Humans are incapable of actually multitasking. They can only shift focus.
It's true.
So I think I need to get back. I paid $50 for an app called OmniFocus.
What's that do?
About 2 years ago. It is a task manager.
I don't think you need that.
Well, I already have it, so I think I need to get back on that.
I thought it was a monthly fee.
No, it was one time.
What else are you paying for monthly? I feel like you should scrape through that barrel real quick too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I need to get back. I need to refocus. I need to think of the things that are most important.
What are your short and long-term goals, man?
Right. And see, that's the thing, dude. Mentor was like the number one short-term goal. But now that's that Mike isn't available, I don't know anyone else that I could possibly
just do it your way,
contact.
man. Do it your way with the things you know now. Like you can't. There was a guy that used to work with me that would always ask about everything. Basically, what I learned was so that he would later have someone to blame. Like, oh, they told me to do it this way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I feel like you're giving yourself an outlet. Like, I f***ed up because I didn't have the proper guidance. You know what I mean? Like, misfrizzle that shit, man. Get messy, right? Like, you know enough. You know more than most. You know enough about at least the sound quality of the products you're supposed to be pumping out. So you went to a conference. Go to another one. Go to one every year, 2 or 3 a year. There's got to be one in Denver locally, right?
So there is it is an extension of VidCon, which is like the biggest, like everyone thinks it's like the YouTube conference because they dominate the market, but a video conference. They have one for podcasts now, and for our second segment of What Would You Do, Mike Hurley is speaking at that conference, and it's inexpensive. It's in Seattle. Tickets are cheap. Would it be weird? I wanted to go anyway, but would it be weird if I was like, hey, Mike Hurley, remember that guy? That's me.
I wouldn't even talk to Mike Hurley. I mean, he's been polite enough to not slap a restraining order on you. You know what I mean? Like, he's not your guy, right? So just go and try to meet more people. Only go if it's an opportunity to go in a different direction. Don't go because he's going.
Oh, yeah.
Like, your success doesn't hinge on Mike Hurley's attention.
Dude, for sure. I mean, I'm 100% aware of that. It would be like some good people to meet. It's on a weekend.
Right. Then I would say go. Especially if the tickets are cheap. Southwest has that sale right now.
Ooh. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's super frustrating. And I just feel like the things I need to do to make this successful are the things that I don't know about. And that's why I was on that, like, local entrepreneur like meetup app, not meetup, but it was like Tinder for entrepreneurs, like a professional Tinder, and have been like clicking like meet or accept on all the like marketing people. I want to find a co-founder for sure, because like you said, I'm only one person trying to do way too many things in addition to working.
What do you need out of a co-founder?
Hours a week. I need someone who knows how to market this shit. Like, I can make it. I need someone to like get it in front of people. I don't fucking know how.
Like on the radio, like radio spots?
Just anything. I mean, you know, how to get this in front of just the right people, like getting us, you know, guest spots on other podcasts, or just finding the opportunities to, you know, get the shit in front of people. Like, I don't know how. And I want to learn because I just want to know that stuff. But I feel like I should be the guy making the shit, and I need someone to like put it out there. You know, that's like, it's not my strength, so I shouldn't be doing it. I should be giving it to someone who can.
Sure. Well, that sounds like a short-term goal. Write that shit down. Taskmaster.
Co-founder. Speaking of that, I am going...
Mockle Buck.
We can shift away from this.
All right. All I care about, Tom, and we'll talk more intimately super intimately after the show's over. But I need to know your ultimate reaction to Volume 1 of the Ron Carnage Chronicles. You said it literally brought you joy today.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I too have read Volume 1, and it ramps up a bit.
Yeah, it gets like super real. Like the adventure is starting. Like just at the end.
I'm gonna say this. Spoilers ahead, Matt. So read up. Julie, Amanda, Aaron, Zach,
Caitlin,
my
dad.
How do I always forget Caitlin? You all know who you are. Read up. Tweet us what you think. But yeah, spoilers ahead. Nobody dies or anything, but I mean, shit goes down, right? So Ron has to go meet. He's been blacking out again ever since Levi kind of got him out of solitude and said, "Hey, we got to go do some stuff." And basically, some of his old powers. It's kind of like starting a rusty car. It kind of feels like, and he's been just killing people without I don't know. It's I guess it sounds way darker now that know. But it's a lot more like, I guess, like poopy and slapstick when in the moment. But I guess when you try to paint it with a broad brush, it sounds real dark.
Right.
I don't know. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this.
Who's your favorite character so far? I guess.
What was that?
Who's your favorite character so far?
I'm starting to really love Flappy, to be honest.
Yeah, he came on hard, strong.
Like his character, I don't want to call it a character arc yet because he's just getting like a little more.
It turns out his real name is Fletcher, which was kind of a Fletcher Murphy.
I kind of like him the most right now, just because he's like, especially with like this town festival. I feel like that's when he really shined the brightest.
Right, which is something we joked about when we were first brainstorming Ron Carnage. I went back and listened to that episode, and we had referenced like there's always that town party, and there's always I don't know. It's nothing like what we talked about, but that was kind of some of the stuff coming to life ever since that the first one.
Right. I mean, I think obviously it's funny as hell because it is like, I mean, it's catered to like the teenage boy humor that I'll always have. But I do think that like the characters themselves are like weirdly interesting for how like goofy and kind of like stupid the like finer details are. But like you're saying, like with a broader brush, it does sound like a just super good. It's like a really good story. I don't know what else to say. Like I fucking love it. Like,
Ron is a lot dumber than I expected. Like when you hear the name and you hear like what we've been saying, he's kind of a doofus. Like he's an absolute moron, and that's something I did not expect at all.
I think one of my favorite parts is like when they're in the bar at the Fiddle Inn. It was like when they turned around, Ron was gone. Like
right, like he has that Batman thing where he'll just disappear from a room, right?
And it was like the window was open and the breeze was blowing the curtains, and like Levi was like, he could have just gone out the door, right? And Flappy's like, yeah, there's like super a door there.
Flappy, yeah, his use of the word super is, I'm glad you get joy out of it.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah.
I was a little worried about Flappy because of the name Flappy sounds like when you're trying to explain it to somebody in the elevator. Like, yeah, so this guy, Ron Carnage, and his best friend, which is Tom's dog's name, is Levi. And then there's a third. There was a decision at some point to make a third person called Flappy. That was an active decision that was made. 8,000 words later, it turns out his name's Fletcher Murphy. I'm interested to see how the sport of hurling comes into play.
Right? There's so much
that's
talk
kind of
about
always
that.
fascinated me. Yeah, really. Because it's real. Like I feel like there should be the foot, like at the beginning of the book when it's all done, it should be like dedicated to Joanne or your dad or something. And but it should also be like, go watch a YouTube video of hurling real quick, just for like, because it's crazy. It's like rugby. They beat the shit out of each other with like sticks, and they punt this rugby ball around. But you can like kick it into a soccer goal, but you can also kick it into an upright like football. But it's also like field hockey. It's honestly insane. It's so fucking brutal too. Just like the toughest dudes playing it.
That's awesome. But yeah, so I really love it, and if you guys want to read it, listeners, it's at WhoIsRonCarnage.com. Also, I'm setting up a page now where you can pre-order the paper, the printout, volume 1, which is the first 10,000 words. We want to make it just like $5 for a physical print because it's going to cost like $4 to make the damn thing. And then it comes with like a PDF download. You can I put an option there to download the PDF for like $2, which since it's almost exactly what's on the website would just be like a tip kind of, hey, I like this, but I
was thinking if they do it now, they should just be able to get the full PDF when it's done or something, if they do it now or something like that.
I mean, we'll work something out.
These decisions are yours to make, obviously.
We'll work something out to where it's like, yeah, I mean, the people who listen to the show are obviously like dedicated listeners. I'll just give you the PDF. I don't really give a shit.
Also, I wanted to do an exercise, and maybe we can do it next week. If we were to play a game of baseball, where our listeners and you and me would be in the field. I got Julie pegged as a third baseman. Your sister would be like left or center field.
Like whatever gets the ball.
Matt would be a second baseman. I think you're shortstop or catcher, maybe.
Yeah, I've played shortstop back when I was like 4. I was really bad.
Right.
Maybe
okay.
Catcher.
Okay. Yeah. Like a field general of sorts. I like that.
And you're obviously pitcher because that's like literally what you did, right?
True, but I could also play first.
Ooh.
Which is like the weird end of that comparison to be bragging about. It's like, yeah, but I can also stand there and catch the things other people field and throw. Don't forget that.
So where does Amanda go? And see, this is where Amanda went wrong. She came out of hiding, left a amazing review. It was really heartwarming to read that. Now that
she's in the club now, dude.
Now that we know she listens, we are never going to stop talking about her.
That's right. You're part of the gang, man. You're part of the. I don't know if they have to come up with a name of it for it, but
she's an Aaron now.
Oh, true. I forgot we did that. Yeah, sure. Anyway, Aaron, right? Aaron's center field. Matt's no. Amanda would be second base, and Julie would be first, and Aaron would be third, and. Caitlin could probably. Well, Caitlin might be center. We'll have to come up. I'm just saying we're gonna start competing in sports. That's where we want to take the network, and that's just the way it is. So get ready for a lot of sports stuff and actual participation in those sports. That's what this has been, a 50 episode long con, and you all have signed your lives away into the Elemental Sports League.
ESL, baby.
That's right.
Ooh, I love it. I'll start getting a Fiverr person to make a logo for our sports league.
That's right. We just want to buy pictures to put on shit.
It's just going to be the Cubs logo, but with ESL on it.
I like it. So instead of the letter C, 3 letters in the same font.
Right.
Nice.
And they'll say, this is original. I just came up with it.
I just came. And then like up with this, or like the word came will be big and then on the hat. And then on top it'll be, I just came up with this.
Damn it. Just flapjaculated.
And we'll get sued for harassment, and then we'll get kicked off Reddit, and our memes won't be dank anymore, and it'll just be over. It'll be over for us.
So over. Over. All right, let's do Now You Know.
Okay.
So I have like a huge...
Is there a jingle?
Yes.
Now you know.
And that's where it'll play.
Oh, okay.
So this one, I heard someone say, I think it was one of my coworkers, my buddy Jimmy, who actually, he's going to make me partner in his lighting company coming up here soon. So I'm going to be even busier than I currently am. But that will be bringing in money, so that's exciting. So anyways, he said something about like, along the lines of NASA, you know, they get a lot of money. Maybe we should be focusing more on Earth and the problems here and this and that. And like, where does that money go? Is it actually good investment of taxes? Yada, yada, yada. And a lot of people have said that same thing. They think NASA gets a lot of money, which, you know, we're talking billions, they do. But how much of the national, or the federal budget do you think NASA gets percentage wise?
0.02.
Ooh, you know, it's interesting because most people go way higher. They're thinking like 5%, you know, something like that. They get a half of a percent of the federal budget. Back when we landed on the moon, they were getting 5%. Things are moving a lot faster.
Because I mean, the federal budget's pretty big. You got to think about literally all the
Trillions.
potholes you've ever seen get filled.
Right. Trillions of dollars. So they get half of 1%. So last year I took a screenshot of my federal tax return. I paid about $3,000 in taxes, federal taxes last year. That's about $15 went to NASA. You're welcome. I would give you much more. So there's
Write a letter with a check in it, like in the memo line, just the number 4 and then NASA.
So people have, you know, wondered like, why are we just like sending stuff to space? It's not actually benefiting us. Like there's not a good return on investment because it all gets sent into space where
Really, they want to go down that road. Like, why are we spending money on stuff that isn't for domestic use? Like,
right. Like the 30% budget for the U.S. military.
Yeah, literally a third.
Which, you know, when I worked on the military base and they threw away tens of thousands of solar panels that were perfectly good, that's where your money's going, into the trash heap. So there's a really interesting thing about NASA. A lot of people try to quantify the return on investment. You hear all kinds of different numbers, but I just heard on a video with Bill and I saying the current analysis is that the return on investment is for every $1 spent in space, we get $4.50 back into our economy. I've heard, last I heard it was 7. I've also heard upwards of 14. To put that in perspective, like venture capitalists are looking for a 10x investment. Those are like your Ubers, Facebook, Twitter, like that. If you were an initial investor, 10x is like a once in a lifetime best case scenario. So NASA is consistently getting between 4 to 7, whatever, on investment, and those are through NASA spinoffs. It was technology invented for use in space, but since they are a federal company, they're public, every patent that NASA develops can be used by anyone terrestrially. And they've developed so many things that we use every single day that if it weren't for NASA, might not even have been invented. That goes into our economy. People buy it. it's a huge win for everyone. So the more money we spend on space, the more money we get back on Earth through inventions and all that stuff. And I want to
sharper knives, more quality knives,
right?
It's like super.
So I have some quotes. Let me see.
What is it? Have I seen like sleeping bags recently, or like coffee mug commercials where it's like NASA technology? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, it'd be better if my coffee was like a little warmer, but
they always say that stuff, like memory foam, right? Developed by NASA. That's not bullshit. NASA and their engineers.
So I only want to use products that come from 2 different places. If it's not NASA, I want German engineering. That's it. That's it.
Right?
My silverware, my shoes.
Yeah.
My shirts. If I can't have NASA shirts, I'd rather have German engineered shirts.
I think they do make NASA shirts, actually.
Cavity fillings.
Okay.
NASA quality.
So I'm gonna
I
go.
want to be able to, like, if I burn up in the atmosphere, I want some of my teeth to fall down to Earth still.
I'm gonna go through the top 10 NASA spinoffs by zidbits.com, whatever the hell that is. They have a pretty good short list. They ranked satellite TV as number 10. Maybe not so relevant anymore, but it was huge back in the day. NASA initially, I mean, they're the ones who put the satellites in space, right? Without them, we also wouldn't have GPS. Like we do now. I use it on my phone every day. Thanks, NASA. Memory foam. I have memory foam in my mattress. It is a hybrid mattress. So of my $15 that I gave to NASA this year, I bought a $1,500 mattress with the memory foam. That's a pretty good return on investment for them. Ear thermometers. The thermometers you put in your ear. That uses infrared astronomy technology that NASA developed that can now be used on Earth. Invisible braces, scratch-resistant lenses, modern insulation. They use these. It protected astronauts and spacecraft's delicate instruments from radiation and heat. Cordless tools. So like Black & Decker, who made like one of the first cordless like vacuums back in the day. That was they were contracted by NASA to make something for space. They then took that technology to make some of the best vacuums, and everyone knows Black & Decker vacuums. Water filters, adjustable smoke detectors, and CAT scans. CAT scanning technology was developed to find a safe landing spot on the moon. And using high frequency sound waves, magnets, and computers. And something that's not in this list that I found really interesting, they use a laser guided device when something is going to dock with the International Space Station. Obviously, everything's moving and it needs to line up perfectly. Right. So they use
is that it's a CAT scan?
No. This is different.
That was the last one.
So they use laser trackers to get the exact. If something moves, they can track where it is, find out how much they need to compensate, etc. They now use that technology in laser eye surgery. So if your eye moves, the laser immediately moves with your eye in autocorrect so that it doesn't cut in like the wrong place. And
it's a hell of a CAT scan.
And so that was developed for ISS, and now people spend thousands of dollars, and that was developed for NASA. A lot, like so much stuff like that. The way highways are built. There's some, I forget what exactly, but there was
also a CAT scan.
And a CAT scan.
No, I mean like the highway building process, also called CAT scanning.
Yeah, and there's like some technique that they use to find like cancerous cells. That was NASA technology.
CAT scan.
And CAT scan. So I think all that's super interesting. The return on investment is incalculable, but also they think 4.5 to 1.
Okay. But they have also super cool.
They try.
NASA has done.
There's a lot of critics of it.
They should call all of those things German engineered CAT scans. How did they get the road so flat? This highway. Germans CAT scanned it. Your eyes are a different shape now. Can you see better? I can. I see quite well, thanks to German CAT scanning.
So anyway, that's my super long-winded now you know. NASA is dope. Spending money on space is never a bad thing. And CAT scans.
Yes, I guess the only time I wouldn't want to have be like a German CAT scan would be like if it was kind of a sexual vibe in the room. Like, would you want a German engineering infused CAT scan? And if someone was like naked, telling me that, like a naked man, like behind a counter ringing me up, I would, man, unless I was down on my luck and just looking for a change and looking for something to spark, unless I like was so close to rock bottom I wanted to hit it and come crashing down onto it, I'd be like, yes, please, naked man. I'll have one German CAT scan, please.
Oh, good God. Highlight of the week?
Well, I don't know.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel weird about mine, which I don't know.
Ooh. Intriguing.
No, it's something I don't want in the show.
Oh, come on.
Please, yes. So, Tom, what about your highlight of the week?
Well, there was real quick something I forgot to say last week that I want to make up for. My favorite podcast in the world, Hello Internet, gave me a shout out on the show. When I proposed to Megan, I was wearing a t-shirt from their show and I thought it was a great marketing opportunity. So I tweeted the picture at them being like, hey, she said, yes, I think it's because your shirt's so awesome, you know? And I was listening to the show and they mentioned, this guy, Tom, who was sharing a super intimate moment and happened to be wearing our t-shirt, which it was planned. Don't tell Megan that, but I planned on wearing that shirt for this opportunity.
Yes.
And they put a picture in the show notes and they talked about me. And I was like, what? I don't know, man. They have 900,000 listeners and they put a link to the Reminiscent Twitter in their show notes with the photo.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it was cool. It was so cool. I don't think I can express how much I love that show. So that was dope. I forgot to mention it last week. It was at the 50-minute mark on 2 episodes ago. I'll put a link in the show notes. But for this week,
go for it. I had just remembered mine.
Okay, but for this week,
today I went to Target. Ooh. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. But for this week,
Target is where I went. I was sorry for f***ing with you so much. You can go.
For this week, I took yesterday off because it snowed in Denver. And I had a 3-day weekend. I spent all of it with Megan. We went dress shopping again on Saturday for the wedding dress. Went to a wedding Saturday night with some friends from work. A guy I haven't seen since June because he was backpacking Europe. We watched 14 hours of Riverdale on Monday. Sunday was just chill. It was awesome. It was so nice.
Is Riverdale worth it, the time?
It's pretty bad.
Bad good or just bad?
It's I can't stop watching, but it's so
it's
cheesy.
The good kind of bad or the bad kind of good?
It's the good kind of bad. When I watched 6 seasons of Pretty Little Liars, but that was just bad, but I couldn't stop.
But you feel better about this?
I kind of. I think that's because there's less of it.
How does it feel to have one of the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody twins in it? Does that work or does it not?
Wait, in what?
Cole, I think one of the Sprouse brothers plays Jughead.
No.
Yes.
Oh, so funny. Well, now I feel weird about it. So he has
I feel weird. I mean, he's an actor. It's him being in a show is all right.
There's a backstory. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
The guy who plays Jughead has really big bags under his eyes, and they blur them out in the show, and it looks so bad. You can see these huge blur lines under his eyes all the time. why didn't they just use makeup? It looks awful.
Why? Yeah. Why do they do that?
I don't know. It's bad. But anyway, just having a long weekend with Megan, and just it was great. It was really nice.
Nice. Mine is quick and simple. I was buying some steak knives for my friend who I'm going to Pittsburgh this weekend for a wedding.
German engineered, bro?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. It was a brand at Target. I don't know how much German engineers are into the Target game, but I'd imagine quite a bit given their good reputation. Anyway, I got a couple new shirts and also NyQuil for Jesse, who is sick. And I realized the combination. I guess my highlight is the fact that the cashier did not call the police on me when I showed up with like too many knives, a lot of sleeping pills, and like fresh shirts just in case.
Oh my god!
So that was a good thing. That was a positive. No funny looks, anything like that. It was one of those things where I pulled the chip of the card out too early.
Oh,
I think because I was expecting her to judge the purchase, and I was freaking out, so I had to do the chip thing again. It was anyway, that was nice.
That's good, man.
It was up there as far as like weird purchases go, though. Anyway, yeah.
John.
I don't really have any new music this week. I think I might just recommend going to watch Big Mouth on Netflix.
All right, good enough.
It's quite funny.
I'll be quick too. I'm sure you're familiar with Elton John's "Circle of Life" from the renowned Lion King.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a pop punk cover of it that just really needed to happen. It's by this band called Party at Gatsby's. It's not perfect, but it's very cool.
Okay.
Been vibing it pretty hard. So
I believe you. I believe you.
I think it's the way that Elton John like wanted to write it, but he just wasn't talented enough.
Sure, yeah. Any hot takes about the Beatles you'd like to drop?
I was just gonna say,
chests?
And the Beatles couldn't even come close because they fucking suck. Just kidding, they don't suck. I just don't like them. I also think Metallica is kind of lame too, like really corny.
Okay.
How does that make you feel?
I have no. I don't know. They're obviously legends for their own right, but I couldn't tell. I've never listened to one of their albums front to back.
Right. Me neither. I just think they're kind of lame though.
That's fine. But Metallica's not the Beatles. You know what I mean? It's just kind of different. Like, there's a certain amount of like just recognizing game. You know what I mean? Even if you don't enjoy it.
Hey man, real like, recognize real.
That's what the game is all about. Just recognizing, being super cognizant.
German engineered English bands.
Right. German engineered recognizing skills.
Developed by NASA.
German elephant never forgets things that are engineered well. But yeah, so should we put this one out of its misery?
Sure.
Cool. All right,
dude. Well,
WhoIsRonCarnage.com.
Yeah, and if you want to suggest any names, because they're about to leave town on their first real adventure, and it hasn't been written yet.
Which only happened because of the picture that Tom had talked about by this girl. Like, it was all pretty contained until that picture was bought, and now it's like, well, they got to go somewhere now. It's got to get scenic quick because we paid $5 for this shit.
So if you want to recommend a name of where they go, hit us on Twitter. It's @_reminiscent_FM. We're both pretty active on there, and we'll chat with you a little bit. And yeah, dope. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, Pat. Love you.
Love you too, man.
Ba 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 ba.